Okay, we're using the BigBlue 5-bladed saw blade again to demolish this roof here in sections. Madison, Mississippi. It's been raining a little bit, that's why I'm kind of doing this in sections, but I've been cutting out between the rafters these pieces, roughly about 4 feet long by, say, 18 with the saw. And I can go ahead and throw those into the dumpster. Kind of makes a big mess below, but kind of the nature of the beast. But my last video I was kind of learning how to use this tool, and I've evolved by just going downhill. It cuts real easy. Need to wear safety glasses, of course, because it's getting a lot of crap generated. Got a lot of debris. And make sure, you know, if you don't have a brake on the saw, you don't set it down like any saw, but it'll cut right through the whole shingles and everything over here. Cut right through the shingles. This is some temporary part, but this is the older part over here. This is a temporary section we put on 4 years ago. We started getting some leaks. Of course, there's the blade with the carbides. You do get up a lot of crap buildup here, carbon, because you're cutting through all sorts of different crap. So you probably want to clean the saw out after a while. There's the carbide tips, are about 3/16 of an inch wide. Only had one little jam. I was cutting through something and I had 2 or 3 these things real close. Got stuck in there for a second and then they popped out of there. But again, when you're cutting through, you know, you got metal pieces and whatever, make sure you got safety glasses on. But this really saves a lot of time here. Demolition, because the deck here is shot. This is the part here I did last weekend, or probably 3 weeks ago. It's got roll roofing on it temporarily. I'm either going to put shingles or a metal roof, but the roll roofing just kind of buys me some time. The titanium UDL over here or the Rex will last many months, but after a while you tend to, you don't want to, if you leave it on, I've left it on 6 months to 12 months, you'll get some degradation depending on how much light you've got. Here's a tarp put on. We had this on for years, and this is covering up where I ran out of roll roofing before. Here's something kind of interesting. These are architectural shingles. These are good to use just to go through and temporarily to prevent the water from scooting up underneath an area you haven't covered yet. You got to be careful you don't step on this because they're not tied down. If you're in an area you want to leave them a while, you can put a metal fastener in there, one of these that nails in, like one of those. But a lot of times in the middle here doing something, it'll start to rain and you get caught. Here's the supply of plywood I've got up on one area of the roof, all covered up, so I can stick it up here. It won't grow legs. Here's the old power vent we put on 20 years ago. You're going to buy a new one, or I got to see if I can separate that. If it's okay, I'll go ahead and use it, but I put a lot of goop around that years ago, so it might be kind of a frugal thing. All this deck here, this is pretty good. In case you're wondering what those are skis. Those are snow skis right there. I got to get the blower out and blow all that junk down. If you've got anything important in the garage, you probably should put a tarp under there, because of course you're creating a lot of crap through here. There's some type of dog through there. These are skis wrapped up in bed sheets. That's a log periodic antenna. Over here where I had to go do some cutting on this one edge of the board where it matched up. We did this 4 years ago. We did it this one corner, and of course the garage is racked, so we had to use a little trim saw to cut off a little piece. This is roll roofing. It's been on here for I think 4 years now. It's still okay, but what happens is that this area I've done on temporarily, these fasteners here actually have rusted the nails. Kind of strange that you'd think they'd, but they'll pop out sometimes. The roll roofing is generally just a temporary thing for sheds and all. But the plan here is to go ahead and get this done. The roll roofing probably at least lasts 5 years, maybe 10. It gives me some time to get the whole thing done and then buy the shingles. I may end up putting a metal roof on here, but the roll roofing is cheap and quick enough. At least I can roll it on there, tack it down. I didn't glue any of this stuff. I just kind of put it down. A bunch of these fasteners. Been an overcast day. Cold front went through, so I had a little bit of rain. So I'm kind of don't want to expose too big of a section because I'm working here by myself. Over there is the blower. And that's a really good device. You end up blowing a lot of this stuff out. Blowing it off the roof so you don't just slide off. And then this other part of the roof here is so bad. This is the better part, so we're doing this last. But here's the markers showing where the rafters are, just so that you tend to walk on where the rafters are and not go through. There's a temporary patch that was put on, I think last fall, because we had a limb go through that corner. And there was a limb that went through this corner. And I had one go through over here a long time ago. And as I mentioned in another video, the corner over here, we had one, a limb went through in Hurricane Ivan in 2004 and punched through this corner right here. So it looks like a mess, but the blade on here is kind of a good time saver. Of course, you do create a mess trade-off, but there's nothing really valuable in this garage or anything. If you were doing this below an attic, I would put some tarps or something, just let it drop on some tarps. And then you've got, even if you just do regular shingle, you get stuff that goes through the cracks of the plywood. You get a bunch of gravel, usually in an attic. Shop vac will work. Now if you just want to save the deck, of course, you just take off all the shingles and everything, but the deck, this thing is so old. This was built in the early 80s, and it's got 30-year shingles, and then it's already was built with reject plywood, is what I was told by the guy who built this. It's and it's got some leak problems, so once the plywood tends to go, it's kind of a problem. It's a nice day out here. Cell phone coverage is marginal. You can talk on a cell phone. The internet is dicey. Sometimes you can get on the internet, sometimes you can't. And this is in Madison County, Mississippi, up in the woods. And I haven't tried the three-bladed saw versus the four-bladed. I mean, 3 versus, this is the 5. And you do get a lot of crap. That's, of course, because you're cutting through all the different stuff. That's got the 3 layers of shingles. Actually, that's not, that's the roll roofing, but the shingles look like this. 3-tab shingles. Put on, I want to say early 80s, 82 maybe, 81. This barn was built, so it'd be, what, 36 years ago? And it's probably got 20-year shingles. The pitch on here is about I think a 4 and 12 pitch. The barn's about 24 by 30, and then we added some extra overhang because we had a problem with water getting in the sides. So this is a little bit hokey. This actually is overhanging by 2 feet, cantilevered, and we put a 2x4 underneath the bottom to here. And then I'm going to put some braces coming up from the side so it's got some more stiffness. Now with the plywood overhanging there, that's kind of a screwy thing because structurally it's terrible. And then even if you didn't have any weight to you, if you nail, it wants to bounce off because of the springy factor. So adding the 2x4 in the bottom helps a lot, stiffens it up. These pine trees used to be real small in diameter, and they go way the heck up. I think they're about, I think we measured them with a clinometer, and I think they're 95 feet, between 85 to 105, depending on which tree you've got. We had a bunch of them killed off with pine beetles, and that's what they are over here. There's a bunch of them that we had to cut down, so they fell down themselves with pine beetles. There, just use the blue demo saw to take out some more sections, put a 4x8 piece of plywood in. It stopped raining yesterday. It's 46 this morning. Take out sections roughly 2 foot by say 4. We got a couple screw ups here where I dug into the rafter, which isn't the greatest. A lot of these, again, I've got a scab on another 2x4 here because this building is racked, so nothing really fits on there right. This is the roll roofing I've put on just temporarily. I think this has been on 5 or 6 years, so it's okay, but it doesn't last forever. I'm going to put either metal roof or shingles on top here when I'm done, but the roll roofing at least buys me some good time. And pretty much the entire deck is shot, so I'm just replacing the entire deck. Cut out the sections, throw it off in the dumpster. Here's some pieces I've scabbed on over here just because it wouldn't want to line up. And plus we had some temporary boards in there and it just wouldn't hook up on there. There's all the crap. I take a blower and blow all that down and we sweep it out. It's in a garage barn type deal. Now these I screwed on 5 or 6 years ago for a patch. They don't want to come off because they got screws. The screws hold down way better, the deck screws, than regular nails. There's some of the nails right there. And that's it. April, I think it's 22nd, 2017. Doing some roofing work.